Hello. Welcome to this free SwiftUI code camp. I'm your host, Alex from Rebeloper.com, and today and in the following streams, I will teach you how to use SwiftUI in your iOS applications for free. Now, this will be a free series stream, and today we are going to start really slow. We are going to actually learn the basics of SwiftUI, a few views and all of those basics. But before we dive into that, let me just get a hold of who's here. I would like to see your comments in the chat. Say hello to me, or just let me know where are you from, or what stage of iOS development are you? Do you love SwiftUI or maybe UIKit? What is what you actually want to learn? And I'm taking a look at the code, at the comments right over here. Let me know, where are you? I can already see that we have two watching right over here. And let me know, what is your favorite part of SwiftUI? Yeah, looking forward to it. And let me just talk about what we are going to be building out today. Well, hello Alex. Well, hello Agata. Welcome to Free SwiftUI Camp. Today we are going to learn a little bit about SwiftUI's views and what it means to build out SwiftUI apps. We are going to take a hands-on approach. We are going to create an Xcode example, and we are going to go through a lot of views. And yeah, why actually do you want to build out SwiftUI apps? And basically, why do you want to build out apps for iOS? Well, that is because we are going to learn that Apple just paid out around, let me just see here, paid out around 60 billion to App Store developers in 2020. As you can see right over here, it says Apple today reported that new figures, and the company press release said that now it has now paid out more than 260 billion, that's with a B, to app developers since the App Store's first launch in 2008. Now that means that last year they paid 60 billion to iOS developers. Now that's a huge amount. And before that, I believe they paid 42 billion. Yeah, that's right. And before that, 35 billion. Yeah, so 35 million? Yeah, that is 35 million. Another grew. Oh, most probably this is a typo. It should be billion. Okay, so 35, 45, and now 60 billion US dollars paid out to developers. And now Apple is pushing SwiftUI really hard. They do want us to learn SwiftUI and use SwiftUI in our apps. So today we are going to jump right into building SwiftUI apps. And actually this is our game plan. So we are going to talk about the SwiftUI app, SwiftUI views, and then some pull-in and push-out views, basically what they are. And we are going to dive deeper into those. And hello, Easy Hands. It is nice to have you. Easy Hands says, nice to be here. It is nice to have you here. Welcome to the stream, and make sure that you are also going to take a look at the upcoming streams, because we are going to have two more streams. As you can see, here is our stream 1, and then stream 2, and then stream 3. And also Angelo, hey there Angelo, welcome from Italy. Great, good to see you here. Yes, so let's take a look at what we are going to build out today. So we are going to take a look at all of these. And if you're interested in learning even more, then let me just tell you that I am going to reopen the doors for SwiftUI Camp. Of course, today we are going to learn a lot of free stuff. But if you do want to join SwiftUI Camp, where we are going to take it to the next level, really advanced stuff, then I highly encourage you to take a look at the link in the description, or maybe just take a look at the link that you can see in the in the video right now, go ahead and go to rebeloper.com/SwiftUI January cohort form. Yes, that's a long one. And complete the form, and we will see if you are a good fit for SwiftUI Camp. It's just a few questions. So as you can see, it's really short, and I'm interested in what you actually want to learn in SwiftUI Camp. Okay, so let's create our new Xcode project. So I will just create from scratch. Maybe you are just a newbie here, and yeah, you want to download Xcode right over here, and then just create a new Xcode project. There we go. And as you can see now, we can choose a template. I will choose app and iOS. You can also choose macOS or multi-platform, but yeah, I will choose iOS because iOS also has iPad support, and that also can be used for macOS support. Well, basically, it's an iPad app on macOS. Okay, let's click on next here. Now, here comes the interesting part. If you come from UIKit, this will be a little bit of a turn because we are going to go with SwiftUI only. But for now, product name, and that is free SwiftUI code camp. There we go. Make sure that the interface is SwiftUI, so not storyboard, and the language is Swift. Of course, Swift is the only choice for building out SwiftUI apps. Now, we are not going to use core data nor host in CloudKit. We are going to go without that, but as you will see in the SwiftUI Camp January cohort form, you may ask me to teach you core data also with SwiftUI. Okay, Munir, hello there, welcome to the stream. Okay, so let's click on next right over here, and yeah, maybe just drop it somewhere where you want this to be living on your desktop, and let's create that. Okay, so now you will see, and I will just make this even larger. There we go. You will see that this is the basic SwiftUI template given from Xcode. Now, I usually, when I teach, I like to go really fast, and I don't really like to use this preview. Now, here on the preview, you see, if you would just tap on resume here, I would just cover this briefly. Here on the preview, you would just see the preview of the view that you have in here. Hello, Ostan. Hello, everyone from Iraq, Ostan says. Yeah, welcome from Iraq. A really nice, broad country from all of the countries we have here. Okay, so yeah, as you can see, most probably because of I'm streaming right now, Xcode is a little bit slow. Yeah, now we got it. There we go. We have our preview right over here, but actually I'm not going to use this. If you do want to learn about previews, I do have a separate YouTube video on that. Go ahead and check out the channel. Just search Rebeloper previews. So I'm not going to use a canvas at all, and I also don't care about this. So we now have this really huge place where we can actually code. So let's take a look at what we got here, and it's really straightforward. It's really simple according to the other templates. So let me just guide you through what this template will give us. First of all, we have this app file. This is where it all begins. We have our app file as struct, and it's properly named free SwiftUI code camp, your title, app, and it's of type app. We have a scene, so this is the only requirement, and I will talk about this var body sum scene in just a second. And we have a window group and our content view. Now, the content view, this is where it all started. This is what we basically got for first. This is what we were shown when Xcode opened up. This is actually our view that we are shown as we launch our app. So let's do that. I would select iPhone 13 and let's just build and run. And of course, you will just basically see hello world. And yeah, what you saw on the actual preview. And let me just move this out of the way right over here, subsort. Okay, so yeah, hello world, there we go. And Arvind just joined us. Hello, Arvind. Hopefully I didn't butcher your name. Sorry about that. I'm trying to read out your names as I can. So yeah, forgive me on that if I didn't spell that out right. Okay. So also Arvind has joined us. Great. So as you can see, we have hello world right over here. And what is this syntax? Because if you come from UIKit, this is really not something that you are used to. Well, the first rule of SwiftUI is that everything is a view. It is some sort of view. Everything is a view of some sort of view. Now, if you come from UIKit, then you might think, okay, we are subclassing here. We have a UI view, and then maybe we are subclassing for something else, let's say a toggle or a button or whatever. No, this is not it. Everything is a view. Now, why do we have this? The next question might be, why do we have this sum view? Well, actually, that is because this is a computed property. As we can see, it's the body of our view, our content view. So here, the body has to be some sort of view. It could be a text. It could be a text with a padding view modifier, and we will talk about view modifiers in just a second. It could be a VSTACK. It could be an image. Hello, Atakan from Turkey. And welcome, Ostan. I will get to the comments in just a second, where if you do have any questions, go ahead and leave them in the chat window. I'm really looking forward to it. So Ostan says, do you have any plan to build a full app from start to finish using SwiftUI? Yes, if you choose that. Let me just go back to our form right over here. You should see that right over here, you can choose build out a well-known app from scratch. We can just build out Netflix, Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, etc. This is part of SwiftUI Camp. Now, in the free SwiftUI Code Camp, which is these live streams that we are going to have free of, we are just going to dive deep into the basics of SwiftUI. So we're not going to go into building out a fully fledged app. That is what SwiftUI Camp is for. And yeah, go ahead and vote for what you actually want to see if you will join SwiftUI Camp. And yeah, hopefully that answers your question, Ostan. Okay. So yeah, we might have a text, we might have an image, we might have some view. So that is why we want to have some view right over here. Of course, we have our preview provider here. This is for the preview. I'm not going to touch this for now till it's not going to complain, but yeah, after that, I'm just going to delete this. It's just for the sake of this tutorial, but I highly encourage you to use the previews. Mostly when you are just building out some simple views. Of course, you do want to test your app in a simulator afterwards. Okay, so that is about what this body sum view means. Now let's take a look at what is up on our list. Yes, it's pull-in and push-out views. Now, if you take a look at this simulator, what do we have here? Well, it's hello world. Now, if you do want to learn SwiftUI layout the proper way, there is a good thing that you can start with, and that is grasping the concept of pull-in views and push-out views. Now, think of the push-out views as views that are trying to reach everywhere. So we are trying to reach to the top, to the bottom, to the leading and trailing edges of your screen. They are trying to take up as much space as they can. Now, the pull-in view, that is trying to pull in as many things around itself as it can. So pull-in view, pulling in all the other views, push-out view, taking up as much space as it can. Now, let's see, what is this text? Is it a pull-in view or a push-out view? Well, let's take it to the test. One good thing to know, to test it with, is just adding, actually, and I'm just going to remove the padding for now, just adding a view modifier, a background color. And let's just have this as, let's say, mint. So let's just add this mint background for our hello world. And don't worry, we are going to talk about backgrounds also. So as you can see, the hello world is trying to pull in everything around itself. That's why the background is just that small little mint color. On the contrary, the color view, yes, color is also a view. The color mint is a push out view because it's trying to fill, well, it is filling everything that it can, meaning the background of our text. How cool is that? Now, let's see. Let's have in here a VSTACK. And I'm going to go through all of these in more detail. I'm just trying to make sure that you do understand how this works. So if we just build and run right now, actually nothing will change. We have a text inside a vertical stack, and then we have a background color attached to it. But what if we added a spacer? Now, spacers are really, really cool. They are actually a push out view. They will take up as much space as they can. So I'm just putting that spacer below our text. So it's just pushing it all the way up. Now take a look at the background. We have our VStack, and therefore the mint color, which is again a push out view, will cover everything from top to bottom. How cool is that? Now, one interesting thing that you might not have expected is that it all on the leading and trailing edges, it's all starting right over here and ending right over here, like the background of our VStack, which actually makes sense. If I just removed the hello world, it would be even more narrow. So how would we go about to just adding all of that? Well, there could be multiple ways of doing this, but because we are here using the spacer, let me just show you the power of the spacer. So let's just create now a horizontal stack, and I'm going to move the text hello all the way up to into that horizontal stack. Now, how am I doing this? As you can see, I'm just clicking on that line which I want to move, and then option command, and then open or closed square brackets, and then you can just move this. As you can see, open and close square brackets, and now we can move that. So now we need also a spacer right over here and a spacer right over there. And now let's see what happens. There we go. Now the mint background color covers it all. Okay, this is really nice, but there's a lot of code involved here. Of course, now you know how spacers work and vertical stacks and horizontal stacks. You kind of get the gist of it. But there's even a better way of doing this, and that is the third stack. We have vertical stacks, horizontal stacks, and we have also Z stacks. So Z stack. And what do you want to have here? Well, actually, all I care about is this text. Okay, and then I'm going to remove all of this. So now we are in the Z stack, and I'm just going to add a color dot mint right over here. Let's see how this looks like, just so we can see what we have right over here. Great, now we have a hello right over there, right in center, and then the color mint expanding all the way. So again, the colors are push out views. Now, because the mint is like this line 13 is in front of line 14, the mint color will be rendered in the background. But I'm still not really convinced that this looks really awesome. I still see that we have these white lines right over here, and if we would have switched to dark mode, then we would have black. So switching appearances, yeah, that's what they are called. Switching appearances inside the simulator is with Command Shift A. As you can see now, it just switched. Okay, the hello color also switched because it's using the default foreground color. We will cover in just a second the foreground color also. And yeah, Now it's black, and I don't really like that. Let's switch back to light mode. And how do we fix this? Well, there's this nice view modifier, and that is ignores safe area. So that color will ignore the safe area of our application. So really nice. Now we have that. So this is what we actually want. And as you can see, it's much more cleaner. Now we have VSTACK and all of that. Okay, this is really, really nice. But actually, what are these view modifiers actually? What do they do? And how should I take a look? These are views, like the color of views. Ignore safe area is a view modifier. So yes, actually we are modifying the view, but all we are getting back here is still a view. So color.mint is a view. Ignore safe area is still a view. A text is a view. A ZStack is a view. Everything is a view. Yeah, you can make a meme out of that. So let's take a look at some other view modifiers. And let me just check on my list over here. Yeah, let's talk about the padding first. So on the default, when we had this default text right over here, it was actually a VStack. Sorry, it was hello world, and then we had some padding. Yeah, it was hello world padding. I'm just leaving hello. Okay, so if we build and run right now, we will actually not see any difference. We will actually don't see what the padding is all about. So let me just visualize this for you. Let's add a background color of, let's say, again, mint. And then let's see what happens. So yeah, nothing too fancy. We have that hello right over there. But then after our padding, let's add another background. And I would just use this maybe orange. I don't know how that will look, but let's see that. Now this will look really interesting because now we have a hello and a background of mint, a padding, and then an orange. And by the way, hello and Gopala Krishna. I hope again that I spelled it out right. Hello, hello, welcome. So as you can see, now we have our background of mint. It is trying to push out to the bounds of our text. Then we are adding a padding, which means that this part that you can see that has a background of orange, because again, at this point our code, we have a text view that has a padding which is much larger than the one that the mint color is trying to fill. So orange will be much, much larger. So it will expand all the way. That's why we can actually see the orange. Now, what if we just moved the padding right over there? What happens then? Let's take a look. Yes, as you can see, now the mint color is right over there. And I cannot see that, please. So could you just move it forward? Okay, thank you. Sorry about that. But now we have a background of mint. What if I just let's just move the back padding all the way back. So as you can see now, the order of our view modifiers is really, really important to laying out views, of course. Now that is padding, but there's a lot more options to padding. So let me just move back our padding right over here, and let's have a little bit of other stops, like maybe vertical and 12. Let's see how that looks like. So we can have a vertical pad, and that's it. On the vertical side, we are going to have a padding. What about horizontal? There we go. It is horizontal. Yes. And what about leading? And that's also leading. Great. But what if I also want to have leading and I can also have a padding of maybe vertical and 24? You can also do that. How awesome is that? Really, really nice. Or you could just select these, hit Command / and then just go dot padding and 24. That will mean that all of the padding size will have 24. This is just kind of a shorthand for dot all, comma 24. And this is going to have all paddings to be set by 24. Now, these are really, really nice. Now, if you come from UIKit, now this will just blow your mind, because this is super, super fast and super easy to understand, and it's so intuitive. Okay, so yeah, basically that's padding. You can add paddings to any view. I'm just adding these to the backgrounds and then adding also a background to the padding so we can see it. But you can just add any, you can add paddings to any views. Okay. So that is padding. Let's move forward. We talked about the background color, a background, which means that we added a background as a color. But this color, as I already told you, is actually a view. So the background is requiring a view here. So it's not background color, it's just background. And we can add it here again, any type of view, which is super, super powerful again. Now, next up is the foreground. So, well, let's just add this right over here. So dot foreground, and as you can see, it's expecting a color, because for the foreground, we actually cannot add any type of hue. We must add a color. So foreground color, let's just go with maybe white. And let's hit Command R again, and as you can see, now we have hello right over there. Now, if we just removed this, and let's hit Command R again, and let's take a look at light and dark mode again. So Shift Command A, and now the hello text has changed to white. Shift Command A again, now it's black. Shift Command A, white. Shift Command A, black. Now this is because we are having a label color, like the default text color set to that. And Johnny Carn, yeah, hopefully I spelled out right. Your videos helped me a lot to finish my senior project. Thank you so much. You are very, very welcome. Hope that you are going to learn so much more about SwiftUI also today. So let's just see how to replicate this, because this is the default one, but you can also have a UI color dot label. And yes, so let's just move that out of the way. We want to have a color of type UI color. Let's see, UI color, and then UI color dot label, because the UI color is from UIKit. So you want to have the initializer for that color from UI color. So let's hit Shift Command A again. Now it's white. Back to you again, it's black. So there are a lot of initializations for color, and we will talk about colors also. Okay, so that is about the foreground color. Let me just move this back to maybe white. If we just leave this as white, it will stay white. So let's hit Command Shift A. You can see now it is still white. So you really need to understand all of these changes and all of these quirks. That's why I'm just going through this really, really fast. Okay, so let's see. We have our foreground color and we have our frame, which actually should be frame. And let's talk a little bit about frames, because now we had these paddings and they are super, super awesome. I totally enjoy them. And one thing that I really, really hate, but it has its advantages, it is the frames in SwiftUI. So you should avoid frames as much as possible. Of course, for example, in an image, you want to use frames, but it is a rule of thumb to avoid them and try to let SwiftUI take care of your layout with paddings, with default values. For example, you can add a font here for the text, and well, let me just add in here. Let me just go a little bit ahead of myself and show you, for example, our large title font for our text. So yeah, and now you see it's much, much larger. So let SwiftUI take care of it. But being that said, I do want to talk about the frame, because it's really important, and you will see why at images. So let's just go ahead and create a color right over here. And let's just use again mint and then add a frame. And as you can see, we have a width, a height, and an alignment. So let's just go 100 by maybe 200. And I don't care about the alignment. It's basically set out as default as center. And I totally never use the alignment. There we go. Now the frame kind of said, okay, mint, you do want to reach out as much as you can, but here are your bounds. Here is your frame. It's a width and height of 100 and by 200. So that is your frame. We're going to use frame with images later on. Okay, let's move forward because frames are okay. You can use frames, but try to think of this, the layout as kind of dynamic. SwiftUI will take care of it. Don't give it these constant values, for example. Okay, we have talked about ignore safe area. So let's talk about offset. So let's have this color of mint, and then let's just add an overlay. So overlay, and on the overlay, let's just add in here our text. So let's have a text right over here, and I'm just going to go again, hello. Okay, and let me just change this to 100 by 200. So let's just go over there. There we go. Okay, hello world. Now, what we want to know is how could we have an offset on this? And let me just add, for example, an offset of XY, and yeah, let's just go with Y, and let's just have here -50, maybe. Let's see how that looks like. And as you can see, it's just pushed all the way up. I just went overboard here. Let's just go 40. Now, it will just offset that view. And you can just offset any view. It doesn't have to be on the overlay. I just added the overlay right over here so I can show you another VSTACK-like technique that you can use in SwiftUI. But yeah, that is actually what you can do with offset. And you can do it on an X or a Y axis also. So let's take a look at another. Yeah, there we go, overlay. You learned about that. And finally, let's talk about corner radius. So yeah, this is fine. Let's just add in here our corner radius. And you can see it just asking us for our corner radius. It should be a CG float. And there we go. Our mint color has a frame, and then we are clipping our corner radius right over there. So it's super, super awesome. If you come from UI Kit, you know that this is so hard to use with corner radiuses. It is a pain to work with. Okay, let's move forward because we have quite a lot to cover, and yeah, I think we still have a few more, like 20 minutes, sort of. So let's talk about text, and here we go. We have font, but we did add font, so let me just move this, and I usually like to add everything inside the VSTACK because then I know that it's going to lay it out vertically. So yeah, you could just grab the text right over here, but yeah, whatever. So let's just have a font, and as you can see, we can add a predefined font like dot, large title, body, callout, caption. Let's see how the caption looks like, for example, and that will look like that. Or you could just specify like dot system, and you can just have here a size, or you can just have a size, weight, and design. I'm just going to skip the weight and design. Go ahead as a homework, just for your interest, take a look at what weights there are and what type of designs there are. You will see that these fonts are really, really nice. So let's just go with maybe 36. And now a system font of size 36. Now keep in mind that whenever you just choose large title, that will be scaled when the user on their settings app scales their font sizes on their device. With system size, you are just leaving it as 36, so it will not be changed. So this is something that you might want to think of, and just use the default ones, the default font sizes whenever you see it fit. Okay, that is font. Now let me just show you a cool little trick about VSTACKs. Let's see if I want to add in here some more. So we have 5 right over here, and then we have another 5. So now we will have actually 10 hellos right over there. Really simple, right? So I want to add one more. So let's see what happens right over there. So let's hit Command R, and we are going to have an error. Yes. And it says extra argument in call. That means that in each of these VSTACKs, ZSTACKs, horizontal stacks, the container views, which can contain other views, the maximum limit of views allowed is actually 10. So these 10. So how would I add this text? Well, you could just add in here for the 10th view, you could just add a VSTACK and then move these two all the way up. And now actually this outer VSTACK has 10 elements. This inner VSTACK has 2 elements, and it will work really nicely. Now, of course, there is a much better way of doing this, like whenever you want to go through a lot of elements, there's a better way, and we are going to cover that. It's the for each view. It's a whole nother thing. But make sure that you know this, that at most you can have 10 of these views right over here. So yeah, let's see what's next on the list. And yeah, VSTACK. Let's move on along with VSTACK. These VSTACK, as you can see, let's just add in here only 2. And let's just add in here dot a background of mint. And let's just add another background of mint. Well, actually not over there, but right over here. And I usually just add a new line between these two, because then I can just see how they are. Okay, so that's our background. But what if we want to have actually some sort of a spacing between those two? Well, on a VSTACK we can have. So spacing, and then maybe 12. Let's see how that looks like. Really nice. Who would have thought? So that is how you can add a spacing for our VSTACK. Of course, this will also work in a horizontal stack. So let's see that. Our horizontal stack, hello and hello. Really nice. Okay, so what's up next? Well, let's see. I believe that we talked about horizontal stacks, Z-stacks, spacers. So spacer is a really, really powerful one. But let me just take a look at it one more time. So let's see if we add the spacer in between these two texts. It's just going to push it out. Again, spacer is a push out view. But what if I add also a spacer right over here and also underneath our second text? And there we go. It is actually centering it. So we have 1 spacer, 2 spacer, 3 spacers, and of course those 2. So this is kind of what you want to have as a trick. Okay, let's move forward. And yeah, there are a lot of other stuff that you might want to know about spacers, but yeah, you can ask me in SwiftUI Camp if you wanted to. So let's take a look at color. Finally, we are going to talk about color, which is one of my favorite views. It's a little bit complicated, but yeah, bear with me. So I'm just going to remove everything here, create a VSTACK, and then add a color again of mint. I don't know, I just like mint today. Okay, so let's see how that looks like. And there we go, we have a simple color of mint. But what if we wanted to have it as safe area edges? So we want to ignore those safe area edges. Yeah, you already saw this just a couple of minutes ago. We have that. Here we have our assets, and that is kind of the third file that you maybe want to take a look at when you are starting out with your plain template SwiftUI project. What do we have here? We have our app icon and our accent color. And let's just take a look at our accent color. It doesn't say anything, so I'm just going to copy that out and create my own accent color. Because if I would have created, and you will see later on, if you create a button or navigation, all of those are kind of blue. and that is the default accent color, but I want to have another accent color. So I'm just going to remove this. Well, actually, not just the title. I'm going to remove the whole color, and then go here on the plus sign and then add a color set, and I'm just going to name that accent color. And now the accent color is actually white, but I don't want that to be white. Let's just select both of them, and yeah, maybe just show the color panel, and let's just use, well, actually, let's just go for purple. Yeah, maybe purple, it will be really nice. So when I'm selecting this, I just selected both of them, and as you can see right over here, we have our light or any appearance for devices that do not support the dark mode, and then I have this dark mode, but currently it's not the same, so so it is the same. So I would just make it slightly along this line. Okay, so that would be the dark one. So how do we access it? Well, on the content view, let's just go and have this as accent color. There you go. Now we will have accent color as our background. Yeah, that's what we are going to see. And if I hit Shift Command A, you see it kind of changed. I don't know, it's really subtle, but if I would have changed it to another, just go ahead and test it out on your own at home. So that is our accent color right now on dark mode. This is our accent color on light mode. Okay, that is accent color. But of course, there are a lot more colors like red or whatever. Also, we have these initializers, so we can have a UI color, as I previously showed you, and you could just have, for example, system cyan, for example. So if you don't have access or don't really like the SwiftUI colors, you can have access to the UI colors right over there. Also, let's take a look at another initializer. So we have our color right over there. We can have a CG color, a red, green, blue, and opacity, white with opacity, hue, saturation, red, green, blue, white. Yeah, so all of the good stuff. Also, there is one that you can have, and that is with the initialization. So we just have here my color. Okay, this is fine. We have my color. Let's just create it. So let's create a new color set. Let's name it my color. And now let's just see what type of, well, let's just go with orange. It doesn't really matter. And now if I just build and run, you will see actually orange. So that is how you can create your own colors. And of course, make sure that you select the dark and it's different as the light mode if you wish to. Okay. So that is color, and there's a lot more to color to cover, and we are going to do that in SwiftUI Camp. Again, if you do want to join SwiftUI Camp, just to make sure that you follow the link in the description. By the way, it's rebeloper.com/mentoring SwiftUI Camp January cohort form, where you get the chance to pick what you want to study about in SwiftUI Camp. And after that, I will follow along with a Zoom call, where we can meet each other and talk about what you actually want to learn in SwiftUI Camp. So that will be really, really cool. Okay, let's move back to our code and let's see what we got here. Image. Yeah, this is a good one. So images. So I have already prepared an image right over here on my desktop. So let's just go to the desktop and just drag and drop right over here. So it's called apps. Yes. So let's add this image to our content view. Again, I'm just going to add our image. You can see it's really, really nice. So it will be, I'm just going to copy this out. It's much easier and yeah, typo proof. So copying that out, going back to our content view, pasting it in. So let's build and run and see what happens now. And yeah, you don't really expect this because this is a huge image, and you thought that, okay, it will kind of show it all, but now it's just scaling it all. It's all over the place. So the image, is it a push out view or a pull in view? Well, actually, that was a tricky question because it is both of them. So what you want to know about images is that they are resizable. So when you add the resizable view modifier onto an image, then you can set its frame. Otherwise, it will use the actual size of your image that you provided, how many pixels there are. So yeah, that's why you want to have resizable right over here. And let's have a frame of maybe 100 by 100, and alignment, I don't care again about the alignment. So yeah, there we go. But this is kind of skewed. And yeah, as you can see, if I just add in here for the width, maybe 50 and the height of 100, you see, it's just not what we expect it to be. So let's just move back to 100 and let's add in here scale to fit. Yes. And by the way, these view modifiers, they really, you do want to know in which order to add them. As you can see, now we have scale to fit and then the frame. And it looks nice. This is actually the image that we want to have in here. And let me just make this a little bit larger so we can see the differences a little bit better. Okay, so we have scale to fit. Let's just have scale to fill. And now, actually, you should just see the same image, but now it's much larger, meaning that the frame will still be 200 by 200, but it will fill it. So in this case, the height will be all filled and the width will kind of overlap, and you will still see this. So yeah, this is how you would just make it. Also, you can, let me just see here what is the next one. Yeah, let's talk about divider. There are a lot more about images. You can have system images, but we don't really have time for that today. So divider, yeah, let's just add a simple divider here. Divider, what is a divider? Well, actually, it's a grid line. I don't know if you can see it right over here, but please pause it if you are watching the recording of this, and you will see that we have a divider right in center. Now, what is a divider? Is it a push-out view or a pull-in view? Well, again, this is a hybrid. You see, if we are having it inside a VSTACK, it's going to push out on the horizontal axis, and it's going to pull in on the actual vertical axis. If we just say change this to be a horizontal stack, it will be the other way around, of course. So you see, now we have this divider right over there. So it's really strange, but these are kind of the only quirky views that you want to know about. Okay, label. And we are coming to our final list. Let's take a look at what label is. So a label, and there are multiple initializations here, and go ahead and check them out. We can have it with the string protocol. That's the easiest one. We can also have with a title and an icon. Let's choose this one for now. And as you can see, now we need two views, and the label will have a text. It always has to be a text. So let's just go hello, and the icon, let's just go with an image. And now we're just going to select image name, and let's just go with person. I believe that is a valid system name. There we go. We have our hello. Now you could just created this with a horizontal stack, an image, and a text, but SwiftUI comes for us and saves us, because then you don't have to worry about spacing between them. This is really a standard way of adding some sort of an icon and a text after that. Okay, so yeah, that is our label, and let's quickly move on to our link. A link is just a link, so let's just go with a link, and then let's just add a destination for this, and we also need a URL for that. So URL, and I'm just going to go and create a URL from string https rebeloper.com/mentoring. Okay, so if you do want me to mentor you, you can just find me right over there. So rebeloper.com/mentoring. And I do know that this is a valid email URL, so I'm just banging that out. And then label, I'm just going to have a text right over here. By the way, you could just have any type of view. And then I'm just naming this site. So again, build it, run. And now you see it is actually using our accent color. And how awesome is that? Otherwise, it would be the default blue. So tapping on that, we will be taken to that factory at rebeloper.com/mentoring, where you can meet me on a 60-minute Zoom call. Go ahead and check it out. Okay, what is up next? Let's see. So progress view. This is an interesting one. So let me just move this to a VSTACK because that's what I'm convenient with. And let's create our progress view. So a progress view is actually a view that shows progress. And this is it. If you haven't known about this, this is it. It's a progress view. It's really nice. Of course, there are other types of progress views that we are not going to talk about today, but this is a standard progress view that you can use, and it's really, really self-explanatory what's going on here. So finally, let's talk about the button, the good old button. So we just start having a button, and there are a lot of initializers. You can have one with an action and label, a role and action and label. You can have one with a title, with a string and an action. I usually prefer the one with the action and label, and if I do want to have a special role on it, I would just have a role. And so let's just use this with the role, and I'm just going to use destructive. And then we have an action. What should we do when we tap on that button? And then the label. So let's just have a label right over here, like tap me. It could be anything basically. And let's make this bold. Another useful view modifier. And then let's just print out like tapped. Okay. And it's that easy. So we have now a destructive, meaning that it will be red. It is not going to use the accent color of our app. And there we go. If I just tap on that, we are just printed out tap me. How cool is that? Also, let's just take a look at our button styles. So there are these predefined button styles in SwiftUI free. I really like the bordered or the bordered prominent. Let's take a look at bordered prominent. So there we go. And you don't have to add these corners. You don't have to have a background for the actual text there. It's really, really taken care of. And let's just tap on that, and it says tap. Now, that is kind of the last view that I wanted to talk about today. In the next stream, we are going to talk about text fields and state variables like state, binding, state object, observed object, all of these whatever that you can see in SwiftUI project. Basically, we are going to talk about data handling, which is actually the most important part of SwiftUI. This is all fancy. Okay, look here, how smart I am that I just put out a button right over there. But this is just the outside of it. The most important part you want to learn is actually learning how to use data in SwiftUI. As I used to say it all the time, it's actually not SwiftUI, it's data UI. So data drives the UI. Keeping this in mind, data drives the UI in SwiftUI, and that is what we are going to tackle next time. Till then, let me just remind you that you can go and submit your answers at rebeloper.com/SwiftUI January cohort form. And the link is in the description, by the way. And you can choose what we can learn together with you, of course, in SwiftUI Camp. Now, don't know what SwiftUI Camp is? Again, there will be a link in the description. It's at rebeloper.com/SwiftUI Camp. Basically, me teaching you in a group coaching, whatever you choose to learn. And this is something new that we are experimenting here at Rebeloper this year because I want you to learn what you want to learn. So go ahead and select your topics, or maybe just add in your own topic right over there. So yeah, that is it. go ahead and check it out. And yeah, as usual, I will see you in the next one.